Do you want me to give you some context for episode 3, the one that everyone's talking about?
Yes,
sure, yeah.
I mean, you're probably aware of this already, but yeah, Chris Gore was going to fill us in because he's seen it already, but he was not able to make it tonight, so I'll try and do my best to fill in on his behalf. But the premise of episode 3 is that it's a flashback to 16 years prior when Osha and May were children together. They were conceived by their mothers. So one mother gave birth to them, the other one impregnated her somehow through the force.
Looking forward to that scene. That's some serious scissoring.
That, like, if you go really hard at it, you can actually make it happen. It's just a question of rage. But anyway, they're all part of a coven of witches. So they're all female. Of course they are, because it's Leslie Headland. And the idea is that these two twins are powerful with the Force. Now, the Force is not as we understood it, as described by Yoda and all the other Jedi. It's no longer an energy field that flows across all living things. It's a thread that binds all creatures together. And if you pull on that thread, you can manipulate it to do whatever you want it to do, essentially. It's like puppet strings. So you can use it to fight people, you can use it to defend yourself, whatever you want. It's a thread now. So that changes the nature of what the Force is. And the galaxy, sadly, is not welcoming of women like them.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Now, can you get the subtext, women there, like gentlemen? Because this is really high level stuff. But the galaxy is not welcoming of women who prefer the company of other women. And this comes from a lesbian activist who made this. I'm going to put it out there. Maybe you can put the pieces together. I can't. I don't know what she was hinting at.
So it is the gayest Star Wars of all time.
Yeah. So anyway, so the Jedi show up as Child Protective Services and basically say, we hear that you have 2 kids who are Force users and are powerful, and we get to take them because that's what we are now. They are setting up the Jedi as the bad guys of this universe.
The heteronormative people. Well, how aggressive do they get with the taking of them?
So their premise is we want to test them first to see what their abilities are, and if we find that they are strong in the Force, like they say, pass our test, then we can essentially just take them. So Osha, strong female character number 1, wants to join the Jedi. We don't know why. She doesn't actually explain why. She just says, I want to be a Jedi. Whereas May wants both of them to stay there with the Coven. She wants them to be lesbians together so they can scissor into infinity and beyond. And so it creates a rift between them, but they come up with this plan where they're going to fake the tests. So when they do the Jedi test, they're going to pretend to get it wrong so that they fail, and the Jedi will leave them alone. But Osha fucks that up and actually passes, or the Jedi sense that she's got power with the Force, and they decide that they want to take her with them because she's conflicted. May decides that she's mad about this, so she says that she wants to kill her, and then burns the book that she'd kept, like detailing everything she knew about the Jedi, which then starts a gigantic fire which engulfs the village and kills all the lesbian space witches. And then May falls down a hole and apparently dies.
What?
And then Squid Game guy gets sad and takes Osha with him to become his Padawan. I'm not making this up. This is what happens.
If this doesn't happen next week, I'm going to be really pissed off.
Oh, man.
I'm willing to bet that Discount Venom is actually one of the mothers of the 2 girls.
Wait, they're not again going to do the guy turns out to be a woman the whole time. They've done that 7 times.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they're going to.
It's Ass Blaster all over again, Mauler. Prepare yourself.
Task manager.
Drink right. I know something in the chat.
The Force is now an energy field, which is also threads, which is also midichlorians that live and exist within you. I kind of lost track now.
Well, of all the things you could do, of all the things, how is this the Jedi's fault from what you said? It's just because they were there. Then she hates them. It sounded like, from what you told us, that the girl burns down the whole fucking place. But
I imagine they're going to.
So essentially, she goes from like, I disagree with you that we should join the Jedi, to I hate you, to I want to kill you, and then she like sets fire to her book as like an act of petty revenge, which then starts a fire which engulfs the entire village and the surrounding area, and all the lesbian space witches just kind of burn to death.
I was expecting. So, what's like the big evil thing that the Jedi did, other than be there and want them to join the Jedi?
Well, the patriarchy power. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Well, they didn't get May. Is that what the issue is?
Or did they kidnap Osher at the end of it or something? I don't know. Well, I guess
so like Squid Game guy gets sad because everyone died, and he's like feels like he probably fucked up a little bit in his mission, and he says to Osher, like as they're next to all the steaming pile of corpses of the lesbian space witches. Don't worry, I'll protect you. I'll make you my Padawan, and I'll train you in the ways of the Jedi. And then she just goes off with him. But then it doesn't really work out, and then she gets sad and leaves him eventually.
Maybe with the sight of a man, they all start burning their bras and just combust and just all explode from the penis being on the planet.
But I think what they're essentially going for is that like only women have a true understanding of what the Force actually is, and the Jedi are just like a kind of blunt instrument in trying to impose their will upon the Force and use it as a weapon that they can wield against other people.
Fucking stupid Yoda. He had no idea what he was talking about.
No way.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Theory, do you want to maybe introduce that link you got as well?
Yeah, because I can't. I'm trying to open it here. Sorry, in the chat. Are you able to like share it with us, and I can just bring it up so that everyone can listen to it?
Yeah, sure. Because it's very relevant as to if what you're saying is true. Is man,
poof indeed.
This is why people are saying like, wait until you get to episode 3. Like episodes 1 and 2 are nothing compared to what they're gonna do. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
This is like what we understand to be Star Wars, like the idea that like that only came from George Lucas, that only George Lucas holds the key for what we understand to be Star Wars is just untrue. And I think the prequels are an excellent example of that. I mean, the idea that like when you're hiring a director, that everyone is sitting in there waiting for George Lucas and not for the person who's going to know to hire Ralph McQuarrie. That's the problem. That's the misogyny and the problem with the auteur myth.
It's always the misogyny
today, because they're not thinking this is the person that will hire the right people, and this is the person that will be able to create the lookbooks and direct people to get them to that place. They're just thinking, do you have all the answers? And the truth is that nobody does, and anybody that says they do is lying. This is like what we understand to be Star Wars. Like
the sanctimony of that boils my piss.
Came from George Lucas.
God, that boils my piss. The idea that Star Wars is some sort of entity that fell to Earth, and then men found it first and then hogged it to themselves, rather than it being something that George Lucas created, grifted, and nearly had a mental breakdown over as they tried to bring it to the screen. And then you come in and you rely on a fan base that's pre-existing, that you had no part in creating, no part in fostering, no part in developing over generations. And then you have the sanctimony to come in and say all this hogwash about how it's all relative, that George Lucas is kind of ancillary to the whole thing, and it's up to new people to actually decide for themselves what Star Wars can be. The sanctimony of that goes.
Well, it's like JD Payne and Patrick McKay saying like, well, you know, Tolkien never really understood Lord of the Rings, and you know, it requires people like us to actually bring that to the mass market because we have the true understanding of this. He never really got it. That's the same analogy there. Yeah, it's the pure narcissism of a person with way more ego than talent.
The ego, I can't imagine having that sort of ego. Like, it's just out there. They can freely speak like this and just think nothing of it. Just think that's normal. I'm not saying anything wrong here.